Commander Vextar's mandibles clicked in what his species considered amusement as he watched the latest batch of recruits file into the training facility. The Galactic Defense Corps had been accepting candidates from newly discovered species for the past century, and while most proved adequate, some were disappointing. His compound eyes fixed on the human shambling behind the others. Marcus Chen looked unremarkable even by human standards. Average height, lean build, with dark hair that seemed perpetually disheveled. The human moved with none of the predatory grace of the Catherian warriors, or the imposing bulk of the Gornaks. Heavy infantry. He appeared soft, weak, almost fragile. Another primate, Vextar muttered to his aide, Lieutenant Zephos. Earth sends us their rejects, and we're expected to forge them into soldiers. The insectoid commander strode to the center of the training ground, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the artificial lights. Around him, recruits from a dozen species stood at attention. Towering reptilians with razor-sharp claws, crystalline beings that could manipulate electromagnetic fields, and gas-phase entities contained within specialized suits. And one unremarkable human. "Welcome to Combat Training Facility Omega-7, Vextar's voice boomed through the translation devices. For the next 6 cycles, you will be pushed beyond your limits. Many of you will fail. Some of you, his gaze lingered on Marcus, should not have been accepted in the first place. Marcus remained motionless, his face betraying no emotion. The first week consisted of standard combat assessments. The Catherian recruit, Shalandra, demonstrated her species' legendary speed by completing the obstacle course in record time. The Gornaks, Thurok, pulverized practice targets with devastating force. The crystalline being Prism showed tactical brilliance in simulated battles. Marcus performed adequately. Not impressively, not poorly, just adequately. He finished the obstacle course in the middle of the pack, scored average on marksmanship tests, and showed basic competency in hand-to-hand combat simulations. Mediocre, Vextar announced during the daily assessment briefing. The human shows no exceptional qualities. Perhaps Earth's military standards are lower than we assumed. What the commander failed to notice, what his rigid mindset prevented him from seeing, were the subtle details. Marcus never tired during extended exercises, while others collapsed from exhaustion. When equipment malfunctioned, he improvised solutions using whatever materials were available. During team exercises, he consistently positioned himself where he could support struggling teammates without drawing attention to their weaknesses. The human was studying, not just the training materials but everything, the patterns of alien movement, the strengths and limitations of different species, the underlying tactical philosophies that governed galactic warfare. While others slept, Marcus reviewed combat footage, analyzed historical battles, and absorbed information with the quiet intensity of a scholar. The breakthrough came during Week 4's survival exercise. Teams were dropped on the hostile moon of Kepler 442c with minimal equipment and tasked with reaching an extraction point 30 kilometers away. The environment was brutal: toxic atmosphere, predatory wildlife, and terrain that shifted between frozen wasteland and volcanic hellscape. Marcus's team consisted of himself, a draconian scout named Veltar, and a bioluminescent cetacean called Luma. On paper, they were the weakest group. Veltar's natural arrogance led him to assume command immediately. "Stay behind me, mammals," he hissed. "This requires real warrior instincts." By the second day, Veltar's aggressive approach had depleted their water reserves and led them into a nest of crystalline predators. Luma was injured, her bioluminescence flickering weakly. The draconian scout was exhausted and disoriented. Marcus stepped forward quietly. "There's another path," he said, pointing to a seemingly impassable cliff face. "The mineral deposits suggest thermal vents. We can use the steam for cover and find water sources." "Impossible," Veltar scoffed. "My species has been exploring hostile worlds for millennia. That cliff cannot be climbed." "Not climbed," Marcus replied, already moving. "Traversed." What followed was a masterclass in human adaptability. Using torn fabric from his uniform, Marcus created friction grips for their hands. He identified handholds invisible to alien vision, mapped a route that utilized the moon's lower gravity, and led them across the cliff face with patience and precision that bordered on supernatural. When they reached the extraction point first, 12 hours ahead of the next team, Commander Vextar's mandibles stopped clicking entirely. The final test was individual combat assessment. Each recruit faced off against a training drone programmed with the combat data of the facility's most accomplished graduates. Most recruits lasted between 2 and 4 minutes. Marcus faced his drone in the assessment arena while the entire class watched. Vextar observed from the command booth, expecting a quick, unremarkable performance. The drone activated with a hum of energy, its multiple arms extending weapons designed to test every aspect of combat capability. It moved with lethal precision, combining the speed of a Catherian, the strength of a Gornax, and the tactical adaptability of an advanced AI. Marcus didn't try to match its speed or overpower its strength. Instead, he did something that confused the machine's programming. He adapted in real time. When the drone attacked high, Marcus went low, but not in any predictable pattern. He seemed to read the machine's intentions before it acted, moving, with economy of motion that wasted no energy. 3 minutes passed, then 5, then 10. The drone began cycling through advanced combat algorithms, trying to find a pattern in the human's movement. But Marcus fought like water, flowing around obstacles, finding gaps, applying pressure precisely where it would have maximum effect. At 15 minutes, something unprecedented happened. The drone paused, its sensors overwhelmed by trying to predict an opponent who seemed to operate outside known parameters. Marcus struck in that moment of hesitation, not with strength but with perfect timing and placement. The drone's central processor sparked and went dark. Silence filled the arena. Commander Vextar stared at the readings, his mandibles twitching. In what his species did when confronted with incomprehensible data, the human had just defeated a combat drone programmed with the skills of warriors from across the galaxy. How? Vextar descended to the arena floor, his voice barely above a whisper. Marcus straightened, showing no signs of exhaustion despite the prolonged combat. You studied our weaknesses, Commander, but you never studied our strengths. Which are? We adapt. We endure. We find ways to survive against impossible odds. Marcus met the alien commander's compound gaze steadily. Every other species in the galaxy evolved to be superior in specific ways, stronger, faster, more intelligent in certain areas. Humans evolved to be adequate at everything and exceptional at surviving. Vextar processed this, his worldview shifting like tectonic plates. You were hiding your capabilities. No, sir, I was learning yours. The commander's mandibles clicked once, slowly. In that moment, he understood why Earth's seemingly unremarkable species had been invited to join the Galactic Defense Corps. Humans didn't just fight wars, they won them, often against enemies who should have been superior in every measurable way. Recommendation approved, Vextar announced to his aide later. Mark the human for advanced tactical command training. As Marcus left the arena, several alien recruits watched him with new respect. They had learned something that day about the quiet, unassuming species from the small blue planet in an unremarkable star system. Sometimes the most dangerous predator was the one that looked like prey.